Arthur Bishop is not an ordinary man. He lives a quiet, methodical life, surrounded by precision tools, classical music, and strict routines. To the outside world, he appears to be a calm, well-mannered professional. But behind this composed exterior lies one of the most dangerous assassins in the world. Arthur is known as a mechanic, a highly specialized contract killer who makes murders look like accidents, suicides, or natural causes. His greatest strength is not brute force, but intelligence, planning, and emotional detachment. He believes that killing is a craft, and like any craft, it must be executed flawlessly. Arthur works for a powerful organization that hires him to eliminate high-profile targets. Each job is carefully designed, leaving no trace, no witnesses, and no evidence. Arthur studies his targets thoroughly, their habits, weaknesses, daily routines, before striking with surgical precision. He prides himself on leaving behind a clean scene, ensuring that authorities never suspect foul play. Arthur's orderly life is shaken when he receives a new assignment that changes everything. His employer orders him to kill Harry McKenna, his mentor and close friend. Harry is not just a colleague, he is the man who taught Arthur everything he knows about the assassin's trade. The order hits Arthur deeply, but his code allows no room for emotion. He believes that once a contract is accepted, it must be completed, regardless of personal ties. Despite his inner conflict, Arthur begins preparing for the hit. He studies Harry's routine, just as he would with any other target. Eventually, Arthur carries out the assassination by staging it as a swimming accident. He ensures that it appears natural and leaves no evidence behind. Harry dies without ever knowing who truly betrayed him. Though Arthur completes the job perfectly, the emotional weight of killing his mentor lingers within him. After the funeral, Arthur meets Steve McKenna, Harry's adult son. Steve is hot-headed, emotional, and deeply affected by his father's death. He is convinced that his father was murdered and becomes obsessed with finding the killer. Arthur, hiding his guilt, offers comfort and support to Steve. At the same time, Arthur sees something of himself in Steve: anger, confusion, and a desire for purpose. Steve soon discovers that his father was involved in contract killings and confronts Arthur about it. Arthur admits the truth about Harry's profession but claims ignorance about who ordered the hit. Steve becomes determined to learn the assassin's trade so he can seek revenge. Against his better judgment, Arthur agrees to train Steve, partly out of guilt and partly out of curiosity to see whether Steve has what it takes. Arthur begins Steve's training in a harsh and disciplined manner. He teaches him physical combat, weapons handling, surveillance, and above all, emotional control. Arthur repeatedly emphasizes that emotions are weaknesses in their line of work. Steve struggles at first, as his anger often clouds his judgment. However, he gradually improves and proves that he has potential, though his reckless nature remains a concern. Their first mission together involves assassinating a corrupt businessman. Arthur designs a complex plan, intending to execute the kill quietly and without attention. However, Steve deviates from the plan, choosing a more aggressive approach. Though the target is eliminated, Steve's actions nearly expose them. Arthur scolds Steve, warning him that such mistakes can get them both killed. Despite their differences, the two men begin to form a bond. Arthur becomes a reluctant mentor, while Steve views Arthur as both a teacher and a substitute father figure. However, Arthur remains haunted by the truth that he is responsible for Harry's death. This secret creates a growing tension beneath the surface of their partnership. As they take on more jobs together, Arthur notices signs that Steve is becoming increasingly unstable. Steve enjoys the violence and begins to take unnecessary risks. Arthur tries to rein him in, but Steve resists, believing that fearlessness is strength. Their relationship becomes strained as Steve's impulsive behavior clashes with Arthur's calculated methods. Meanwhile, Arthur starts to suspect that Harry's assassination was not as simple as it seemed. He uncovers evidence suggesting that his employer may have lied about Harry's betrayal. It appears that Harry may have been set up, eliminated to prevent him from exposing corruption within the organization. Arthur realizes that he may have been manipulated into killing his own mentor. This revelation fills Arthur with guilt and anger. For the first time, his loyalty to the organization begins to crumble. He starts planning revenge, knowing that turning against his employers means becoming a target himself. Arthur takes on a final job with Steve, targeting a ruthless arms dealer. The mission is dangerous, involving heavy security and a public setting. Arthur intends to use the assignment as an opportunity to test Steve one last time and possibly end their partnership. During the mission, Steve once again ignores Arthur's instructions, creating chaos and attracting attention. Although they succeed in killing the target, the operation ends messily. After the mission, Arthur confronts Steve about his recklessness and the dangers of their lifestyle. Steve, however, believes he has proven himself and accuses Arthur of holding him back. The confrontation grows intense, and Arthur realizes that Steve is no longer just a student, he has become a liability. Arthur then uncovers the full truth behind Harry's death. The organization had ordered the hit to silence Harry, who was planning to leave the business and expose their secrets. Arthur understands that by killing Harry, he served as a disposable tool. Consumed by remorse, Arthur decides to dismantle the organization from within. He begins executing his former employers one by one, using his signature methods to make their deaths appear accidental. Each kill is calculated and precise, sending a clear message to those who understand his work. The organization soon realizes that the mechanic has turned against them. Steve, however, learns the truth about his father's death. He discovers that Arthur was the one who killed Harry. Enraged and betrayed, Steve confronts Arthur. Arthur does not deny it. He admits that he carried out the contract, believing the lies he was told. Arthur explains that he has since avenged Harry by killing those responsible. Steve pretends to accept Arthur's explanation, but his thirst for revenge remains strong. Arthur senses that Steve may try to kill him, but he does not stop him. In a twisted way, Arthur believes that he deserves whatever fate awaits him. The final act unfolds in a dramatic confrontation. Arthur invites Steve to his home, fully aware of Steve's intentions. The house, filled with weapons and traps, becomes a battleground of mind games. Arthur allows Steve to think he has the upper hand, knowing Steve's impulsive nature will lead him to make a fatal mistake. Steve attacks Arthur, triggering a carefully planned sequence of events. In the chaos, Steve accidentally kills himself due to Arthur's trap, making his death appear as an accident, just like Arthur's previous assassinations. Arthur watches silently as the consequences of their choices come full circle. In the end, Arthur is left alone once again. He has dismantled the organization that betrayed him, avenged his mentor, and lost the man he tried to guide. The film closes with Arthur returning to his solitary life, burdened by guilt and regret. Though he remains alive, it is clear that the cost of his profession has stripped him of any chance at redemption.